cons. Beth, who couldn't be here tonight, also reviewed all 4 of the plans. And really the only feedback she gave me was an email saying the proposal I liked best was from Michael Baker International, followed by WSP. Has anyone talked to someone from Easton to get an opinion on Michael Baker? Maybe she meant Allentown, or maybe she meant Tina, because she's from Easton. Anyway, so that would be something to ask. And she didn't have a preference regarding iSpring or the Stonehouse Group. And she said she didn't have any comments to add, but that was her opinion.
Okay, so her number 1 would be Michael Baker?
And her second was WSP. And then iSpring and Stonehouse Group. So I think we can, I can easily in the letter just summarize some of the strengths to the city. Ryan, do you have a top 1 or 2 or any particular order?
I like WSP best just because I feel like they have the strongest. It was almost like a balance between experience in doing this stuff as well as like community engagement. I know I've seen Dan involved in some of the stuff before, and if Katrina's been out here. At some point I saw Dan because he was asked about this. He asked me like, is the EAC, how involved is the EAC with this, because he knows that we've been involved with this. So I think there's a very distinct awareness of keeping us involved with stuff. I like Michael Baker's too, and I like the experience that they have with climate action plans. I just think that WSP's experience, local experience, especially Dan's actual experience with the city, working with the city and stuff and bringing stuff, as well as their relationship with Commercial Nature Center, is really strong. But I know Tina from the planet has she experienced working with them too. But, so I'd say WSP is my number 1. Baker's a close number 2. iSpring 3. Stonehouse 4.
Brian?
I really like Michael Baker. That was my number 1. Close behind was WSP. They're really good too. I'm okay with either, but I think Michael Baker more aligns with the city budget, and I like their overall presentation and future engagement of the community and giving chunks of information along the way.
I think, and it's just popped in my head too, because I remember WSP asked me about how the EAC, knowing how active the EAC has been involved as well. I'm almost wondering if that was kind of part of the considerations with, the actual writing of the climate action plan was working with us. Almost like that was part of the time or something like that too. And that was one thing that I didn't know that I really appreciate you bringing up, the fact that those there's still a lot of hours that they expect the city to put in. And I miss that, so I'm glad you grabbed it.
So I had initially really liked the Stonehouse Group, but after looking at their pricing, I think I'm going to go with Michael Baker.
And who would be your second?
I guess the Stonehouse Group.
Okay.
Who was your first?
Michael Baker.
Okay. I actually like WSP's the best, but am concerned about the extra hours and the possible extra cost. I forgot about that, but I did notice that. And I do like that they are in the city office. And admin employees that live in the city. And I actually, my number 2 is going to be iSpring. And I believe that there's room for cost savings in that, so that could bring down the cost. I also, again, think it's important to look to see that the people that are working on it actually live in the city and work in the city, and they do. So I think that way local is important. So.
I'm a little conflicted because I mean, the Stonehouse Group, I think just is right. That would be my last choice, just because of their narrower focus and the cost is just not feasible, especially in comparison to the expertise of the other groups. I would be happy with all the other three. I guess I would probably go for Michael Baker and WSP would be my top two. I have some questions before I can.
If you rate them equally, then it's a tie.
I know, I can't believe that.
Are they both number one or are they both number two?
Well, there's two
There's
Michael
1.5.
Bakers and WSG's coming.
Right, I was writing this down. We have 3 people ranked Michael
And then
Baker
each
1,
1.5, yeah.
and 2 people ranked WSP 1, and so my vote would be 3 each for first place, or 4 to 3.
Actually,
Although,
I think you have more for Michael Baker, because Beth went Baker, both Brian's went for Baker, Elizabeth went for Baker.
You had
Baker was
WSP.
number 2 for me.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I wrote it down. I mean, I guess I would go for either. I think we need some more information. I would tend to say we should recommend maybe Michael Baker and WSP to the city. Maybe we view Michael Baker a little more favorably, but we have questions. I guess that would be my.
I actually think that would be a bad idea, like, just some of our concerns, just kind of wrote out some of our concerns and have them addressed.
Yeah, the city's gonna do their own assessment.
And there's actually gonna be one other thing that I forgot to mention before. The Stonehouse Group noting to not only verify inventory, but to gather any missing data. That was actually something that I had already mentioned before. He asked about fuel oil. There's no fuel oil in that inventory, and that might be a big question mark. Something that I actually started gathering a list together. The fuel oil companies in Lehigh Valley might be serving Bethlehem. I don't know if anybody knows that Friends of Bethlehem question that I asked about fuel oil company recommendations in the city. I was trying to gather a list together to get inventory. I called Fritch about that, and they said they wouldn't have a problem getting data. If the city called them, they said, yeah, here you go.
We digress.
But
We digress.
I wish
Can I ask you-
that.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the reason that I wanted to come tonight was to get a sense of any of the proposals addressed underserved communities, and specifically racial and justice as it relates to climate. And from the reading, obviously, just look through them here, it sounds like the 2 that are in the top do not specifically, and I didn't see that in those 2 either, do not specifically make a point of saying how they will address climate injustice as it relates to low income and communities of color in Bethlehem. So as I just, just as a bystander, my request would be, could that be one of the points that would be included in the letter? And
Absolutely.
that would be, and then as this body continues to work, along the way with the EAC, or with whoever ends up being chosen, if that could be something that this body would, keep at the forefront to make sure that it does.
Well, and that's something, I mean, in this letter, I can mention that is something that iSpring was
Exactly.
more focused on, and for all of them, they, again, we were looking at iSpring had way more hours than the others, so per hour, they were the least cost.
I mean, maybe it's a given that climate plans and climate issues impact those groups. So maybe it's.
I wouldn't put it as a given.
Yeah.
And I would think that would be a point that we'd like to see that, in impact.
Right. I mean, I know this was a long discussion, but like that was very helpful. I think we're really advising the city and giving them recommendations. It's not as though we really have to come out and say, you should hire this group. It's, we think this is the strength. We're recommending probably Michael Baker a little more strongly than WSP and iSpring, but look at the, take into consideration, because it's for them to contact these firms, not for us. Look at the hours, look at, because we've all reviewed them, and I think our input could be valuable.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you. If you're able to add that as a specific point of focus.
And maybe that underserved wasn't in the other ones. I don't recall.
It wasn't
You
one of
had picked it up
them.
on.
Somebody mentioned it.
iSpring mentioned it. I had that in my
Yeah,
notes.
iSpring did,
iSpring
yeah.
mentioned it.
Right.
That's great.
Okay.
Depends on the emphasis they put on different aspects of the plan. I mean, if you're dealing with buildings, that doesn't have much impact on different demographic groups.
Right.
But in
Well,
a
yeah,
way it will,
it does.
because whose homes do you start with first? What communities? do you
I think
look
he
at?
was saying that the Stonehouse group was emphasizing the buildings. Is that what you
Building
meant?
design.
That they weren't emphasizing that. That's what he was agreeing with.
Right, yeah, I'm just saying, even if it seems not to be there, it's there, is
What
Weston
it
says.
was there, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you look at these things like zoning.
Right.
Well, I think,
It seems neutral, but it's not.
Well, Elizabeth is going to send me all these notes, and I will just sort of summarize in a letter to Matt Dorner tomorrow what we agreed upon. Again, that we found Michael Baker most favorable, followed by WSP closely, and then iSpring. But here are some of the questions and the issues we raised, and I'd like to put in some of the strong points of these groups.
And that letter will be public, right? It'll be
It's
like
always
all
public.
the rest of our recommendations.
Yes, but as mentioned earlier, the city website, we're not really allowed to add things to it right now. As soon as we can, we will be able to add it.
Remember Gadfly.
Oh,
For the
yes,
letter,
we
if you
just
can.
Send our letter. We've been posting our letters on Gadfly, actually.
Love that.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're gonna write this letter and
Send it
you're gonna
around.
see it before you send it out or no?
I'll try and do it tonight and early tomorrow. I can send it to
Wow.
all of you tomorrow as soon as I'm finished. But I need to send it to the city by tomorrow afternoon because they're doing a review on Monday. So I want to make sure it's there and they have time to read it.
Based on discussions tonight, I don't need to see it. I don't know if anybody else needs to see it.
Well, we all question, of course.
Well, let's just,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to summarize it. I just appreciate that the city asked for our input and hopefully this will be helpful to them. But yes, I'll send it to you all first, especially if I make any typos or whatever, to proofread at the very least.
Yeah, so if
So,
we don't
we'll
get
look
back
out
to you
for
by,
it.
let's say